Online learning does not have to be scary. And Madison College was there for me.
We have people that are dedicated to our students' online success.
We can help you with your technology.
Give us the college try for 7 days. No risk, no worries. Madison College.
Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365 with your daily update for Monday, December 28th. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday over the past few days. There was not a lot of coronavirus news to report. And in addition to that, we gave the most of the reporting team, a few days off, so we didn't have a lot to report in terms of news. So I did not do an update here, but we're back, and there is news to report, and it's not very good news today in terms of COVID news. We've got some other bits of news that are a little bit better, but today the COVID news is not good. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll address questions after we get through the numbers here for today. But the headline for today is we've had a second teenage death in Wisconsin from COVID. It is not, I guess, it's not for sure a teenager, but chances are it's a teenager. All we know right now is that among the 19 deaths that are reported today, 18 are over 60, and one is aged somewhere between 10 and 19. So chances are it's a teenager, right? We also know that that person is from Sheboygan County. Don't know anything more than that. We don't know when that person died. It certainly was not, today or the day before. It was sometime in the past couple of weeks, probably. But understandably, that family has not made anything public, and Sheboygan County Health Department has not made anything public other than that age range, which is, all the counties are making the age ranges of their fatalities public. So we will. I did get a tip from a reader that it was that Sheboygan County Health Department had put out an email alerting people that this young person had died, and then the Sheboygan Press confirmed it as well. But that's all we know. But we'll update on the website with any additional information that we can. You remember, Issa Moracho passed away over the Thanksgiving weekend, and we reported that Sunday night of the Thanksgiving weekend. And that was not actually confirmed by Dane County Health Department for almost 3 weeks. So, that's just not that they were hiding anything. It's just that's how long it takes for a death certificate to go through the medical examiner's office and into the state database and all that, and to be verified. We knew that about that death though because his family proactively sort of wanted the school to announce it in order to communicate the seriousness of coronavirus. So, the family of Sheboygan County has chosen not to do that. And that is, I think it's up to them. So, if we never get any more detail about it, that's going to have to be okay. But it's troubling, to say the least. Issa Moracho, as you remember, was a junior at Madison West, was 16 years old, and did not, apparently, according to his father, did not really have any respiratory symptoms. He was sick, he was lethargic, he was nauseous, but did not have breathing trouble until the very end. So that's all we know about that right now. I'll give you some other information about today's numbers. As I mentioned, 19 fatalities today, which is a little more than I thought there would be coming out of the holiday weekend, just because, as I mentioned, it takes a lot of time for these fatalities to be reported, to make it through it's basically just a lot of paperwork, right? So over this past weekend, we saw 9 deaths these are the past 2 days reported. So and last Monday we saw only 8. So I really expected a single-digit number today, just because we're coming out of a holiday weekend and offices were closed and things. But we did have 19 today, which is a little bit high. I can tell you there were 4 in Wood County, and the rest were all spread out, just 1 each in Washington County, Vernon, Sheboygan, that's the young person, Rusk, Rock, Pierce, Ozaki, Outagamie, Oconto, Lincoln, Kenosha, Iowa, Fond du Lac, Eau Claire, Dodge County. Those are the 19 fatalities. 1 each in each of those counties, except for Wood County had 4. So I would expect another larger number tomorrow or Wednesday, as we're sort of catching up on the reporting. Now, what that does, though, with that lower number of reporting, the lower level of paperwork being done is it pushes down our 7-day average of reported deaths all the way down to 42. That was over 60 not very long ago. So, again, that feels like a good number, and it is a good number, but take it with that grain of salt that it is actually tied to the fact that the deaths aren't being reported as much. Just realized I don't have my little banner on here. There you go. In terms of new cases today, though, a little better than yesterday. Yesterday we had 2,287 new cases on just 4,900 tests, which meant that nearly half, 46.5% of all the new people who got tested were positive yesterday. That's not great. Today it's better than that. We have 5,171 tests, or new people being tested, and of those, 1,335 are being tested positive for the first time. So that number is 25.8%, which is still really high. Not great, but better than yesterday. The 7-day positive test average has me a little bit concerned. Remember, back in November, that peaked at like 35.6. And it has gotten as low and has been basically on a downward trend since then, as it peaked right before Thanksgiving. Now, what we're talking about here is the percentage of people tested over the past 7 days who tested positive at least once, regardless of how many times they got tested, regardless of how many times they tested negative. 35.6% of people tested positive during that week. That number has gotten as low as 24, which is still really high. The day before yesterday, that was 24.0. Yesterday it was 24.2. Today is 24.6. These are not gigantic jumps, right? Nothing to panic about, but it is ticking upward. But just as recently as 5 days ago, it was 26.0. So it's still lower than it was 5 days ago. But it was going down, and now it's going back up for the past 2 consecutive days. Don't love that. The percentage of the total number of tests over the past 7 days that came back positive is now 8.2, which is, 5 days ago that was 9.1. So that's better than it was 5 days ago. However, it is higher than it was yesterday. Yesterday was 8.1. We want that to be going down. We need that number, the percentage of total tests that return positive results, we need that to be below 3, really, before we can sort of say that we've got this thing beat, right? So the fact that that's still 8.2 and the fact that it's not going down and it's going up a little bit concerns me a little bit. We'll have to kind of hang tight on that one and see what happens. Now, I will also say that now and for the next little while, next week or so, we have to take all of our statistics with kind of a grain of salt, right? Because it's just not a lot of stuff getting processed. So the people being tested are likely to be positive, are people who are already in the ER, right? Or who are in high-risk professions, that kind of thing. We don't have a lot of surveillance testing happening right now. We don't have a lot of people just checking to be sure right now. I think after the new year, we'll start doing that again. and we'll start to get more negative tests. And perhaps that will drive that positive test rate down. But perhaps it won't. Perhaps we'll catch a whole bunch of asymptomatic people. And that numbers will start to go back up, which won't be great. So everything right now is just, it's not, the numbers are wrong, that you can't trust the numbers. It's just they're not giving us a full picture right now just because it's holidays and because people aren't getting tested that much. So with that in mind, what else can I tell you? The number of active cases, also tied to the number of cases we're finding each day, has gone down. That's now under 29,000, which is good. But 6.1% of the total number of cases we've ever had are currently active. But that's not bad. That was like 22% back in November. Total number of cases we've had so far, 472,119. So we'll cap 500,000, in the next month or so, probably. Total number of deaths since this thing began, 4,711. A month ago, I anticipated we'd hit 5,000 by the end of the year, and I think we will. I don't think we'll have them all reported by the end of the year. We're not going to get 300 more deaths reported this week. But understanding that it's taking 4 to 6 weeks for each death to be reported, I wouldn't be surprised at all if looking back, like by the end of January, we'll be able to look back and say there were 5,000 deaths by the end of the year. One other final thing I'll mention on COVID, if there are no questions, the number of people currently hospitalized is also going up. Or I should say it went up slightly today. It's not necessarily going up. It's been going down, frankly, for a while. And it's a little concerning anytime we see that go back up. So we have currently 1,113 people currently hospitalized in the state of Wisconsin. That's 25 more than yesterday. That had been going down consistently every day. Of those, 237 are in intensive care, which is 2 fewer than yesterday. It was 239 yesterday. So, again, that total population going up, I don't love that. It could be just a one-day thing. It could start going back down tomorrow. Still don't love that. I still don't love that that's over 1,000, frankly. So that is what I have for you. Active cases, Dolores asks. Active cases just under 29,000. When they first started reporting that, it was 6,600. And it went down, that's early June, and went down to 4,000 at one point. And it has been as high as 80,000. So 29,000, 6.1% of total cases. Not bad. It's not great, but it's also trending in the right direction, that's what we want all of these to see. Is any particular number on any particular day kind of meaningless unless you look at the trend. And the trend in that number of active cases is downward, which is good. We're going to take a short pause, and we'll be back with some additional non-COVID news for you. Don't scroll away. Don't click away. We will be right back. And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. On the website today, Madison365.org, with this whole week we've been doing, and we're going to continue to do for the rest of this week, as I mentioned, giving the reporters a couple of days off, because it's been a tough year to be a journalist, to be frank with you. It's been a tough year to be a healthcare professional, obviously, but it's been a tough year to do what we do as well. So we're giving folks a couple of days off. So we're doing staff picks. We asked all of our reporters, what were your favorite stories for the year? Because there's a lot of really hard news, like a lot of difficult news to report. A lot of this stuff I tell you all day, every day, is difficult to deal with. But we had a lot of good stories too, and a lot of inspirational stories, a lot of important and impactful stories that we did. So we asked all the reporters, what were your favorite stories? And we've been republishing those since Christmas Eve. And so you just go to the website, Madison365.org. On the front page, there's some staff picks. So you can kind of look back. Some of them are from like pre-COVID, like January, February. So it's like completely different. Like, well, we actually went to an event and took pictures at this event. Just weird to remember. So we got those, but we also have some new news today. And leading that today is Madison area activist Brandi Grayson. If you're Madison, you probably know who Brandi is. She was one of the founders of the Young, Gifted, and Black Coalition, going back to 2014, 2015. She was on our very first most influential list all the way back in 2015. Most influential black leaders. She's been a disruptor and an agitator and an instigator and an activist. She's the CEO of Urban Triage. And she's running for Common Council in District 14, which represents the south side of Madison. Sherry Carter is the incumbent. She is the council president. And she is... Sherry Carter is also black and has been criticized by some folks in Madison's black community for not being hard enough on the police, basically, and that and being she had reservations about the Civilian Oversight Board that was recently approved, and has taken some other votes that sort of the Black Lives Matter activist folks have not agreed with. So Brandi just announced today. She has a lot of endorsements lined up, including Shiva Bidar, who's a current alder who's retiring from the service, and Nada Amikashvi, who ran for Senate recently. So a lot of excitement behind that campaign. So we have that story on the website this morning at Madison365.org. Also today, Black Oxygen. It's Monday, so there's a new episode of Black Oxygen, but it's a tables turned episode today. Angela Russell, who you see on the right hand side here, is the host of that show, and she was actually interviewed on A Public Affair, which is a WORT radio program that Ali Muldrow, who you see on the left here, hosts on Wednesdays. Ali is a member of Madison School Board, worked as a executive director at GSafe here in Madison, and hosts this show once a week, and actually had Angela on. Ali was a guest on Black Oxygen back in the summer, and now tables have turned. Ali interviewing Angela about the show, about Black Oxygen, about where it comes from, about what it hopes to accomplish. So we got permission from the radio station to basically rebroadcast that episode as a special episode of Black Oxygen. So it's Angela, who you listen to every week, but she's on the receiving end of the questions this time. It's a really fascinating conversation. If you listen to Black Oxygen and want to know sort of what Angela was thinking about when she created that show and what she hopes to do with it and sort of the energy that she puts into it, it's a really fascinating listen today. So just if you go to Madison365.org/Black Oxygen, you can find it there. You can find it on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Podomatic, whatever you use for your podcast, it's there. Just search for Black Oxygen. Also on the podcast today, I mentioned we've been talking to the reporters about their favorite stories, and we're having them come on It's Only 10 Minutes to talk about this year. And our reporter Fatalities, whose name you've seen and you've heard, came on the podcast this morning and talked with me about her year. This is her about the fact that she just did a lot more reporting this year than she has in the past, as we all did, and some of her favorite stories, and just sort of what it means to be a journalist in these times, especially a black journalist in these times. It was a very fascinating conversation that I commend to you if you go to Madison365.org/10 minutes, or just it's on the front page. I mean, you can just click the link on the front page of the website today, or wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. Just search for It's Only 10 Minutes. That's our morning news update that I do with Stephanie Diaz de Leon every morning. In fact, Fatima was our guest today. So that is the news for today. I hope you enjoy your evening. We will be back tomorrow morning with another It's Only 10 Minutes, and tomorrow afternoon with another Madison 365 daily update. Until then, please enjoy your weekend and take care. Or don't enjoy your weekend. You already enjoyed your weekend. It's hard to know what day it is, isn't it? But until then, enjoy your evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
This is 365 Media.